was definitely one of her books. Yeah, like I said, I think it was, and I don't remember. I think I was just looking for business books, and then that came up. Because I would love the money mindset work, and I love deepening that, and there's so much that you learn from her, and I just learned so much from that book, and so then I've just invested in the courses that she's run since then. So I've always had a decent relationship with money. I knew, six figures comes up a lot because I did it in a job and then I did it very quickly in my business. But that I had a decent confidence in how much money I could make in a job, right? But then I actually realized when I was in a corporate job that there was just so much. There was sexism. I worked in finance and I'm a former attorney and, all this stuff. So there's just a lot that went into it. And it was a really dark time. So I was in really not dark, but like, I was really unhappy in my job. I was like, there's gotta be more to it than this. Right. But I didn't, and I grew up around entrepreneurs, but like, I didn't have, I didn't have that confidence yet on how to make money working for myself. Right. So that was the biggest thing. So it's like, because that's the biggest fear that I see from people is like, they don't know they're like, how do I make money working for myself? And, now that I've done it so much, I'm like, oh, it's easy, because you get used to it. But that was kind of the first thing, the biggest money block was like really not knowing how to do that. And not, so reading Denise's books, kind of, incorporating more of that, going through Money Bootcamp, all of that stuff, there was so much that comes up. And there was so much that like what I've achieved in my business, I didn't even think was possible at that time. You know what I mean? So it's I think my biggest month so far has been like 54,000. So yeah, I know, very excited. But it's, I didn't know that was on the other side of that. Right. And Denise, really, it was like her stuff that started opening up that this is possible. And, because her story is like incredible, she's like, I was driving a beat up car and, all this stuff in the beginning. And I'm like, and then she just built it and did the work on her mindset and did the work on all of these things. And so she really just kind of opened that pathway to show me what was possible. My belief is like, if one person can do it, anybody can do it, truly, because it's just learning, it's just skills, right, that you're learning. But to tell you the truth, I really didn't, I was so unhappy at my job, in my corporate job, that it almost propelled me. Like after I got laid off, I was like, there was no reason it couldn't happen for me. And it was almost like I had blinders on a little bit. Like I was like, I don't care what other people say. I don't care how, what people say it's hard or any of that stuff. Like, yeah, there's challenges, of course, but everything that's on the other side of this is just the best thing in the world. So it's a very much worth it. So I don't think I had anything that was like, oh, it can't happen for me. I didn't really have that. But again, I always opened myself up to being around people who I did see were that had overcome everything that I had been through. And Denise specifically, so, and there's other people that I follow, of course, but that just being around people, like that's one of the biggest things for Money Bootcamp, I think, is like when you are around other people and you see other people having these wins and you see other people achieving these incredible things and like you see other people doing these big things, it becomes very possible for you. I'm like, anytime you want to achieve any goal, the more people you can get around who've achieved it and done it in a way that you want to do it, the better. And so like, that's one of the biggest things with Money Bootcamp. Like it's this incredibly supportive and fun community of women all across the world. But on top of it, it's like, you're literally seeing these women who are achieving incredible things. It makes it very, very easy for you to feel like you can do the same. I'm pretty positive the price, which I think is just, anybody, right? Because I think when I joined, I remember I did the Sacred Money Archetypes and then I think, and Money Bootcamp maybe around the same time. And so like everybody has a fear of investing, right? Like that's it, everybody does. It's just like, and even if it's like not like huge, everybody has that fear. So I think it was probably that, like, am I going to make a return on it? But at the same time, like I just dove in, right? Like I was like, I'm going to learn what I need to learn. I had been so unhappy in the corporate world. And so I was like, I'm going to do what it takes. And I think that's kind of the mentality. You cannot go wrong investing in yourself and investing to be around all these people who've achieved incredible things and investing to learn this stuff. Like you can't go wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, either you stay stuck exactly where you are right now, or you make the move, you invest the money, and you make yourself so much more valuable because you have so much more knowledge and education and skills. You know, I did 6 figures in sales in the first 6 months of my coaching business. So, and I had done copywriting before that. I had gotten some high ticket clients in copywriting. So I started teaching other people that process, and then it really just, took off. But the money boot camp portion of it, and what that does is like, the reason I had so much success and that I've continued to have so much success is truly because like I do the work, right? Like I go in and I'll always go back to Denise's stuff and like, okay, what's the upper limit issue that you're running into? What is it like? What's the fear there? It was Denise who really kind of introduced in the beginning so much about like the this understanding that like we truly only allow in the amount of money we feel safe with. So if we feel like, okay, I'm at this certain level, but in order to scale to the next level, I'm going to totally burn myself out and it's going to be miserable and, all of these things, or it's going to affect my marriage or, any of the things that come up, right? It's like, you will completely block things from happening because you won't take action to make it happen, right? So, and, the inspired action piece, and there's just so much that and the consequences of like what it means to make more money. And so doing that work, learning the strategies, of course, but doing that work to really clear that stuff, I think it just catapulted me. I really do. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't have done this stuff. Like I just wouldn't. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't gone through these courses, if I hadn't invested in coaching and mentorship and worked with Denise and done all of these things. Like there's no way, So the course, how I did that was I think in the beginning, I pretty much followed it like to a T, you know what I mean? Like went through everything step by step. How I do it now is I go back when I need certain things. So what I might do is like in the beginning, and truly like how I view things is like, you kind of go to where you're feeling called to, right? So like if there's a certain module or something that was certain, like that's kind of how I do things. I do it like, I'm just like, okay, there's a reason I'm feeling called to this module. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to learn what I need, and then I'm going to move on. Right. So, so yeah, I definitely think I did go through the process. Her advanced manifesting course, I 100% did that step by step, but the boot camp, I think I did more like I was using kind of what I needed in the moment. And there's so much that comes up with it. And I go back to this now where I'm like, okay, you're going to the next level. Okay, well, what are the things that are going to come up with that? And let's go through like the negative consequences or the tapping or like anything that comes up, And what I love about Denise is like, she makes manifestation, which can be this woo concept, right? Very practical. And, she's very much, and then the inspired action piece and how you learn and like all of these different things. And the story that comes up for me with her is like the lottery winners, like who like will get rid of all of their money because you don't feel worthy of it. And now I'm like, oh, I totally understand why someone would do that because I've learned it from Denise, So I didn't necessarily go through it step by step by step. It was more like Money Bootcamp, how I've always used it, is kind of you really going to where I feel drawn to and using it and like really implementing it. No, Money Bootcamp is she makes it so easy to go through. Like, you guys and, her team and everything like that. Like, it's very, very easy. She's not, that's another thing I love about her. It's like 10, like, I don't even know how long, like each of the modules, they're not long. I am not a person. I was able to build my business and scale my business working 2 to 3 hours a day, truly in the coaching space, because I just made it efficient. I focused on what mattered. Like, that's it. Right. So with her, it's like very similar. Like she gives you little piecemeal things. If you prefer to read it, she'll, there's notes in there, there's workbooks, there's all that stuff. And then if you're more of like the visual learner or you want to go through a video, like it's in there, but it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, it's just what you need to know. So there's no need to like even worry that you're going to be like inundated with like hundreds of hours of information and be like, we're, totally lost and confused. Not at all. Denise is, like I said, so straightforward. So like there's no fluff, right? And I'm like, that is what I love. It's so I learned so much from her about like being a good coach, being a good mentor, is like, you don't need this excess stuff. It's not adding value, right? It's one of the things I think that she teaches specifically around like, you don't, again, just being in her presence, you kind of understand it, but she's like sweet and nurturing, and at the same time like doesn't like, she's like, she calls you on like your BS, and you get monthly calls, so it's amazing. So I can like tap into her energy whenever I need it to get back to that confidence, to see what she's accomplished, to like get back into that just inspiration. I always feel inspired. You feel supported. You feel very like she takes care of you and she cares about your feelings and your results and that you're getting what you need. But at the same time, like if she doesn't like listen to BS. Like she'll call you, you know what I mean? She's like, no, this is what you need to do. And I mean, it's just, she's strategic and at the same time very energetic. And I just love it. I love it. I love the community. So if there's anything that you're ever struggling with, like in terms of, there's been, anything that people struggle with, right? Money mindset, any of like, it could be tapping, or I'm having this situation, or I'm feeling like this, or I don't know what's wrong with this. It's like, you get so much support, you get mentorship from other people in the group, right? Who've already achieved it. And you get like, hey, here's something that really worked well for me. Here's something that I think is really beneficial for you. Plus, like Denise will come in there. I know that you're in there. Like, I mean, there's always support. And then you have the monthly calls. So it's like, that is such a bonus, because it's literally like, access to her for way longer than like, you know what I mean? It's not just a course. Like you get like the coaching and the integration with it. And so being able to be in the group and a community of people who support you and are cheering you on, because that's probably the other thing, is like, not everybody around you is going to be so supportive, right? So that's part of like the business building journey, or wherever you are with your money, or, any of that stuff. Not everyone's going to be super supportive. And so being able to be in a community where you can go in and you're going to get support, that is huge. And that's going to catapult you so much faster in your money journey. Totally. I would say, I mean, if I joined it in 2019, my like biggest money wins, biggest month in business, like I said, it was a $54,000 month. 6 figures in sales in the first 6 months of my coaching business, which is very, very incredible, because, it's a new business. You're still trying to figure things out, to do it that fast. And then I kind of want to and then like I traveled the world. So I just got back from Mexico City. I was in Mexico City for a month. And I get to be able to like go, I travel with a company with a program called Remote Year. And like, I get to be able to just like up and leave and go to Africa I went to Africa and Europe for 4 months. And I went to, I get to go and be able to do any of that stuff whenever I want. It's so cool. Like before I joined, and like back in I was at a corporate job. I got 2 weeks of vacation a year, like then all of a sudden, like I traveled the world and got to live in other countries and experience it. Like it's the coolest thing ever, so yeah, don't hesitate, like jump in, do it. You know what I mean? Join it. Like anything, it's highly, highly beneficial, because it is literally, I truly like, you can learn the strategies, like you can learn like for your business or, your career or whatever it is, you can learn the strategies. If you believe you're only worth a certain amount of money, you are only going to get that amount of money, right? So the idea of like the worthiness and everything that Denise teaches with that and Money Bootcamp, and like getting more comfortable receiving large amounts of money, getting more comfortable paying off large amounts of debt, getting more comfortable like being in a different, because it truly is like, it's a feeling, it's a vibration, right? So getting more comfortable and being in a supportive community that is going to like help you when you're going through those periods of discomfort that are so normal for anyone. But working on your money mindset is like, that's how you grow your money, like that's how you significantly grow your money, whether you have it in a business, whether you have it in a job, whatever it is. It's like you have to get yourself used to earning more amounts of money and seeing yourself as that person before it happens. That's why I think Money Bootcamp, it's just like a step-by-step process of how you do it, and you grow so much individually. And then like just being able to do that, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm making more money because I'm asking for more money because I believe I'm worthy of more money. Like, it's incredible. In a job, that was one thing for sure, because I kind of felt like, and maybe this was just what was taught, is like I was only worth a certain amount of money. And I think saying that, okay, so I think it's super ingrained in us that like you're only worth a certain amount of money based on what your employer says, right? So that was actually a big thing I had to work through, is like getting past that, this whole thing of like, no one else is determining how much money you can make. You work for yourself, like no one is determining this, right? Versus when you're in a corporate job, you're in any of that stuff, it's like that there is someone determining how much money they feel you're worth, right? Which is based on some arbitrary, ridiculous thing and their budget for the year, But so that being able to shift that mindset was the biggest thing, like truly, because it's like, there's no cap anymore. There's no one else telling me, it's up to me. And so working through that mindset block specifically of like feeling like you're worthy and you can have what it is that you want. And if you feel like you're worthy of it, you're going to go for it. And that's how you're going to get it. It goes back to that worthiness, right? So it's like, again, if you feel like you're only worthy of $50,000 a year, that is what you're going to accept. You're not going to look for new jobs. You're not going to do anything else because you're like, oh, I feel like I'm just worthy of $50,000 a year, right? You work on your money mindset. You go through this stuff with Denise. You go through Money Bootcamp. All of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute. I am being way underpaid. I should really be making $80,000 a year. I can tell my skills are worth that. And like, I know there's people who will pay me that, right? That's like a huge thing. Believing there are people who will pay you that, whether that's in a business or a job. So then all of a sudden, then you start, whether you go to your employer and you're like, hey, you ask for a raise, like you ask for that raise and you get a raise and you present it well because you've done the work on yourself and you believe in what you're asking for. So other people believe in what you're asking for. Or if they don't give it to you, you go to a different job that does give it to you. And all of a sudden, now you're making $80,000 a year and not $50,000 a year, simply because you did the work to believe you were worth it. And so, of course, your actions aligned with that. I hope that makes sense, but I'm explaining that well. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. So it's like, and then anytime, so it's like, again, you're not going to take the actions needed if you don't believe you can have it or you don't believe you're worthy of it. And so working through those beliefs, doing the Money Bootcamp work, doing the money mindset work, you're going to make more money. Like you just will. The books, I think, are like very educational. They give you so much knowledge, all that stuff, but the course is actionable, right? So it's like the books are actionable too, but the course is like step by step. This is what you need to do to make more money every year or every month or whatever it is, right? So it's like truly step by step, this is what you need to do. Plus you get the monthly support from her. So you deeply integrate these things, because it's one thing to read it. It's one thing to like learn about it. And it's a whole different thing to actually like do the work and be in a supportive community so that you actually get the results, So it's like that. It's just results are like, you're not alone. You're doing this with other people. You're doing it. Like I said, you have a supportive community. You have a monthly call. You have all of her support. And like, I think was there a private podcast? Maybe that was a different, okay. Yes. So you have like all of these things, all of these different things that you can go in and utilize anytime you get stuck. A book is kind of like, there's so much more manual labor that goes into a book. You know what I mean? Like you kind of have to figure it out yourself. So I love the your new zero and like the negative consequences, because I think that comes up so much is like, okay, what am I really comfortable? Like I'll check myself all the time. I'm looking at my savings account, like, oh, am I just comfortable with having this number in there? Okay, well, how would I, like, let's increase it, right? Like, let's increase it, get more comfortable. And I understand the uncomfortable feeling that comes up when you're doing that and how to work through it, right? Because of like the year new zero, the negative consequences, what are the bad things that could possibly happen if you made more money and how to work through them. Our subconscious minds are incredibly powerful, and this just like brings it to the surface, right? So you can work through it so that you don't sabotage yourself. So I definitely want to get to the $1 million level in my business. That is, I know, I'm excited. That's the next thing. And so it's kind of like the whole same idea. It's like I had to be around people who had achieved it to believe that I could leave my job, make this amount of money in my business, like do what I'm doing now. It's the same thing going to the $1 million level is like, okay, what I need to be around people who teach specific strategies and processes, and then the mindset, biggest thing, right? How do they think? How are they like, so yeah, that's the next thing. So that's going to be the next adventure. And I'm very, very excited for that. And of course I'll be using Money Bootcamp, you know what I mean? Along that journey. What I always say about investments is like, if you're feeling called to it, you're feeling called to it for a reason. And like I said, you really cannot go wrong learning more skills that are going to make you more valuable and that are proven to make you more money. Like you can't go wrong, you know, like you can either stay stuck exactly where you are right now, or you can move forward, learn what you need to learn and make your damn money. Right. So like, if you're feeling called to it and you're feeling like you're not going to go wrong, you just won't. And you're only going to make yourself more valuable. You're only going to make yourself, you're only going to deepen like what you believe in, the amount of money you have that you deserve. So of course you're going to make more money from it. It's like you truly can't go wrong. Totally. So I think for one, the monthly calls, like I don't know any courses that do that. Right. Typically and so it's like the monthly calls, the huge community. It's such it's a very engaged, active community. It's like, I can pop in there any day and be like, okay, you know, I need help with this, or I want to, you know, like it's that supportive community, I think is worth its weight in gold, because it's like, again, you're around people who've done it. You get, you know, people who inspire you, people who can coach you through things. Like, I mean, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like you get the price of coaching, like you get coaching in with the price of this course, not only from other members who have already achieved it, then also from Denise, from your team, guidance on anything. You'll never feel stuck or lost. Like, and then the course is so easy to go through. And like I said, you can kind of just pick and choose, like if you need help with something, you know what I mean? Okay, this is something I need to deepen in, easy to find the module to do that. Anything that you could feel stuck with is in this course, and Denise will walk you through it. Like she's such a good mentor. She's such a good advisor. She's such a good coach. And it's like, just trust the pull and trust the nudge. You're feeling it for a reason. Trust it. Part of it, like part of being successful and growing is trusting those little nudges and those little things, and like building resilience to know you're going to figure it out. You know, like the worst thing that could happen is you'd invest the money and you don't do anything with it, but like you won't do that, you know? So like it's so invest the money, do what you know, get engaged in the community and the group, and then make more money. Like, you know, it's like there's nothing that truly could go wrong.
If you're looking for expert training on money mindset, a supportive community, and mentoring to work on your money stories, I invite you to come work with us in Money Bootcamp. Our community is growing every day, and when empowered people come together and take control of our financial destiny, we really can change lives. Come and join us on this journey. Just click below, take a deep breath, and enroll in Money Bootcamp today. You'll get our amazing money mindset training, ongoing mentoring, and access to our beautiful, inspiring community. So then you can have the encouragement and accountability to make a breakthrough with your money. And you'll get support from all of our experienced mentors and live group coaching calls with me every single month. We will be with you every step of the way to help you create more abundance with less stress. So click below, take a deep breath, and just hit join on your registration. Make this investment in your dreams and get started now so you can release your money blocks, increase your income, and surround yourself with amazing people invested in your success. I'll see you in Money Bootcamp. It's your time and you're ready for the next step.